system where it's like a dedicated server or API or like something that we can use so that we can offer our customers the press release within milliseconds, ideally. That'd be the kind of thing that'd be really helpful.
Okay, interesting. And I did see, I meant to ask you that as well. It sounded like it could have been similar to Bloomberg Terminal. So I'm just curious or I'm wondering, are you looking to be one of those recipients or distributors that receive financial news to your terminal, or you're actively looking to publish your own content, or is it a little bit of both?
It's mostly our users use our product just like they use Bloomberg. So they would they would type Microsoft and they would type N, which is how you pull up news on our system. And then tons of news will come up. We have deals with Reuters. We have deals with, like I mentioned, some aggregators that seem to offer like from lots of different places. I think we have 80,000 different sources. So it's almost more comprehensive than Bloomberg. Like I said, I think the timing of getting Globe's press releases is frustrating because that vendor I mentioned takes a lot. That vendor takes your press releases for all companies, not just NVIDIA, but every company you guys work with. And it processes them and it adds an extra like 10 seconds, which is normally not a big deal. But to our users who are really focused on that breaking news, they want it like instant, as soon as it's ready for public release. Obviously we can't get news releases before they're public, but the second it's ready for public release, Bloomberg has it at like 4:20 on the dot. We want it at the same exact time frame. If not, I mean, I don't know if you guys have a special deal with firms like that, but we're not that different from they have more customers than we do. But other than that, we're not too different. We have lots of clients at hedge funds and mutual funds and guys like that want to see the news at that very second it's supposed to come out and not wait. Like if Bloomberg has it at 4:20 and 0 seconds and we have it at 4:20 and 4 seconds, we're the inferior product and we need it at 4:20 and 0 seconds. So our vendors so far, the vendor we have gives it to us, 4 or 5 seconds after ideal, the release time, I guess.
Of course. All right. And the reason I asked, because I just wanted to understand expectations, I'm thinking I'm trying to figure out which team would be the right one to communicate with. Because I usually work with the organizations that want to publish the news and content, right?
Yep.
But it sounds like you guys want to be part of the distribution network. And so it sounds like it's live right now. Is that right? Because I saw it was pre-seed. I know you guys got pre-seed funding, but I'm just curious, how many desktop users you have, or how many terminal users you have so far?
We have tens of thousands. We still actually haven't even released our product publicly yet. So I think we'll have millions when we do that. And we've raised more capital since our pre-seed.
Okay.
So we're starting to be pretty active in the marketplace. We have millions of dollars of revenue. We're certainly, Bloomberg's been around 40 years. We're not going to catch them overnight, but it's this kind of attention to detail that is going to make us a big winner. It's something I've been a trader my whole life. I know that if I'm a second behind the next guy, it's a big disaster. And of course, we're willing to pay a premium. Right now we pay that big fintech company that bundles you, Business Wire, all these guys into one. We pay them a lot, but if we have to pay you guys directly, I'm sure you have a system with other customers and it'll just be even more revenue for you. So, if you can get us to the right person, that'd be great. And obviously now I have your contact. When we announce our seed financing, which is $5 million, we can put out the press release on Globe instead of Business Wire or instead of PR Newswire. Those guys really, it's not easy to talk with those guys. They're very the whole industry is very much like email us and we'll get back to you kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, it's fine, but, this is the first, we don't have a good contact at Business Wire or PR Newswire. We just go through that vendor that I talked about, but we're starting to get more and more users, a lot more revenue. So we're willing to, especially like I said, NVIDIA is such an important company. People want to see that release right away. But you guys also have other clients, obviously, thousands or even tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. And so those to be more timely would be great. And we probably have to have the same conversation with Business Wire and PR Newswire, but NVIDIA is like so big that, I thought I'd start the conversation here.
No, of course, and I get what you're trying to do because anytime you go through pass-through service or reseller or whatever, there's gonna be a delay there, and plus going directly. That's why I asked the way I did is that when that's one of the selling points of the wire service, right? It goes to a terminal, financial terminal. So I'm gonna have to do some homework internally because I was expecting a different conversation, which is totally fine. I'm just wondering, do you have another website? Because like I said, there was a little bit of limited information. I don't know the requirements when you're being included as part of the network of distribution. But any additional insight or verification that you can provide is
we only have. I can send you our corporate presentation slideshow. We're pretty under the radar. Other than our product page is very detailed. Our program, and then of course our the description of our program is pretty. Our site gets a lot of traffic. It's not a small website.
Oh wow! So it's completely open. So is it like free and open source, or it's free to use right now, but you have a team of developers?
Yeah, so it's about 15 of us at the company. We, like I said, we're off to a good start. We're almost profitable. It's a full sort of featured system. I would say that we just are in the process of growing the company. I mean, this is our only product, so there's not too much out there on us. But I do think we can. This is probably a good reason to start bulking up our website a little bit and showing who we are and those kinds of things. But yeah, we're we've done this a few times. A lot of the people in our company have been at big financial companies or software companies like Stripe or Two Sigma or other big firms. So we're still a startup at the end of the day, and whether or not the business relationship could make sense for you guys, we'll both have to decide. But we certainly know that people want this type of information. Our clients want to see and will pay for direct access, immediate access to these press releases, no faster than anybody else, of course, but at least on the even playing field. And, API is one thing that people are really interested in. Obviously, our developers would have to sort of consume some kind of API you guys send, or whether it's WebSocket or stuff like that. I do a little programming, but, my technical team is better than I am. But, we can definitely send you more details on our company. And,
No, and actually, the terminal URL you sent helps a lot because unfortunately the DL software doesn't have a lot of information, so that's why I was kind of in the dark. But now that you said this, it makes a lot more sense. Like I said, I just got to do my homework internally and figure out who the contact would be that says, hey, they're starting their own terminal. They want to know how we can be included in the network of distribution. And like I said, I get it because Moody's is a pass-through or a reseller. I'm not sure what the proper term is. So having it come directly to your desktop terminals is a big difference. So I get it.
Cool. And, I'm happy to have that conversation with whoever you can on the team. Thanks for, your time. I know this isn't exactly what you do, but, at our company, we're all a team. So, it's great that you have that attitude at your company too.
Absolutely. No, we're very collaborative. So definitely feel that energy and that core value. I guess if I can use that cliche.
Awesome. Where are you based out of?
So I'm actually in Maryland. I'm about 30 minutes north of DC.
Cool.
But we have a good sized office in New York. A lot of reps up there. I think both marketing and sales are in our New York office. So yeah.
Well, good job. Getting NVIDIA is it's pretty impressive. That's
yeah. So to give you a little bit of background, I'm not sure how much much you know about Notified or Globe Newswire, but we actually had acquired Thomson Reuters about maybe 6 or 7 years ago. And then we were actually part of NASDAQ at one point, which is why we're an exclusive partner of NASDAQ. So if you were to go public, we have an entire IPO team that can work with you on going public, and assuming you would want to use NASDAQ and not the NYC.
So
NYSE.
Yeah, we pay. We're a customer of NASDAQ, so we pay NASDAQ quite a lot. In total, we spend millions of dollars a year on data and stuff like that, because ultimately that's our job. That's really good to know. I noticed Notified is, it's got a few other things that sort of seem like they're kind of some overlap with what we do. Not competitively, but could be more partnerships.
Well, and also kind of adding to that, one of the reasons we were recently acquired, if you're familiar with Equinity in the shareholder services space, we are in the midst of expanding our IR services. So it's not just public relations, corporate communications, but it's also investor relations, kind of the overall corporate communications umbrella, if you will.
That's really cool. We've thought about either someday maybe entering that space, or possibly, it seems like there are a lot of competitors in there, so I don't know if we're going to ever enter it. But one of the things that's really neat for our users is they listen to conference calls, earnings calls, and that's sort of what you're talking about partially, right? And,
exactly.
And so like a lot of the systems out there like ours, and certainly like TradingView, Yahoo Finance, the low end systems don't have any of this, but to pipe the conference call directly to a terminal user would be like mind blowing for Wall Street. And because the process now is, let's say I'm a automobiles analyst at a big hedge fund or mutual fund. I'm sitting there, I have to go to Ford's website, Ford.com, register, click, open the webcast. I'd much rather do it right out of my trading terminal where I'm already doing my research. And Bloomberg has something a little like this. And it used to be better, but I think they kind of didn't make it so great. And ultimately, like making it easier to access the conference call. Because like if I have to go to every website and know where I have to find exactly where each webcast is, go scroll, find it. Like I'm a smart guy and I can't necessarily do this that easily.
No, I'm right there with you. When I'm researching like a public company, looking for those webcasts and earnings calls, I get it. It gets very convoluted very quickly.
So you'd like to invest?
Yeah, right.
I'll send you some stock picks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
All right, Martin. Well, I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. Like I said, I have to figure out who would be the right person to contact. I don't think it's our editorial team, but I can see who might be interested in connecting with you for a discussion about that.
Perfect. I can't thank you enough for responding and getting us started.
Yeah, no problem. And again, apologies for my camera. I know this was kind of weird, but nice to meet you, man.
Likewise. See you later.
Take care.